The Blokebusters podcast is now a proud member of the Pod Bros Network.
We're now among the ranks of such other great podcasts as The Language of Bromance, Snake Oil Comics, and Late Night Gamers.
So head on over to podbros.com to check out those and more.
Right after this. Welcome to the Blokebusters podcast. I'm Paul.
And I'm Brian.
And today we are going to be talking about everything.
A little bit of everything,
yes.
Yes.
This is our year in review, talking about 2014. But before we jump into that, first off, let's run over standard housekeeping. We're on Twitter.
Business.
Yeah, on Twitter at Blokebusters. We're on Facebook. Take a wild guess, it's Blokebusters again, and you can email us, blokebusterpodcast@gmail.com. We do have a website, which is lovely, if a little glitchy, blokebusters.webs.com. Yeah. They're actually little Easter eggs we've hidden in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I also want to say, I'm not exactly sure when this is coming out, but do look for me on another podcast that I'm going to be guesting on called Soiled Restroom Cinema. A lovely name.
Sounds delightful.
Yeah, I will be helping the host there to rip on a festive classic, Elf Bowling.
Not entirely sure that's even half true.
Yeah.
But
And then we might be joining the In Session Film podcast guys at a later date to be determined. So do look out for that. We will let you know on Facebook or Twitter as the time comes. And also, before we jump into the review, we both went to the cinema recently to see The Imitation Game, and
yes,
we felt that we had to mention it at the beginning here. We couldn't let that one skip by.
No, it does. Yeah, it's if you've seen the film, you understand it doesn't. It'd be tough for. I guess we would consider ourselves a humor category podcast.
Yeah,
you know, humor slash or film slash.
We tend to go in a humorous way.
And if you've seen the film, there's not a lot of material to build off of.
Not a huge amount.
No. So, yeah, let's just take a few minutes and delve into Imitation Game.
Sure. Well, of course, standard business, directed by Morton Tildum.
Who?
I hope I'm getting that right. The budget was $15 million, which I had to say it looks like it was a little bit more than that. It's a very nice looking film.
That is a pretty low budget, yeah.
Yeah. And box office as of January 2nd, 47,863,923. So it's done quite well so far. And if we get into the cast, Alan Turing, we have one of our favourite actors, Benedict Cumberbatch. And yeah, he tends to be a little typecast, I think, at this point.
Yes.
Yeah,
meddling genius, or just kind of.
I had to
solitude.
say that the opening narration by him, I was thinking, oh, he's channeling Khan right now. Like, just said, you all sit there, you'll not interrupt. Like, I'm in charge. Like, it was a little Khan-esque there, but yeah. We'll get into it.
Well, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So,
and a young Benedict Cumberbatch played by a kid called Alex Lawther, and I thought he did very well. Like, he wasn't on screen a huge amount.
I think it was just a few. There's a few flashbacks as the story's told.
Yeah, but I mean, given that it was the time of his life when he started to realise his inclinations towards men rather than women, as was the norm, like it did very well, I thought. We have Joan Clark, played by Keira Knightley, and I didn't hate it. I do. I think she is a really good actress when she gets good material. Yeah,
and I would like to see her in some more starring roles. She's always just seems to be the supporting.
Yeah,
actress. I think she could carry a film on her. I know she has before the Atonement or whatever, but but a little more mainstream films, I guess I'm referring to.
Yeah, I mean, not this Pirates of the Caribbean rubbish.
I think she was probably the best part of those films.
Oh, come on. Johnny Depp was the best part of those films, even if he got a little overplayed.
I would say Jeffrey Rush, actually, but... Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I might go with you on that one. Yeah, he was good.
Yeah.
Alright.
Anyway, enough pirates.
So, yes, enough about pirates. So we
Yeah.
have Hugh Alexander, played by Matthew Good. And, yeah, he is a really cool character. He was the chess guy, yeah.
Yeah.
And what else have I got? I got Major General Stuart Menzies, played by Mark Strong. I do enjoy Mark Strong whenever I see him.
Yes, Kick-Ass, yeah.
Yeah, I don't see him in too much normally, but whenever he's on screen, I feel he's quite good. Commander Alastair Denniston, played by Charles Dance. I like Charles Dance.
Otherwise known as, to many of you, as Tywin Lannister.
Yeah, very true. If you're a Game of Thrones fan, he's in that. He's also in, if anyone reads the Discworld series by Terry Pratchett, there's a character called Lord Vetinari who is in charge of the big city Ankh-Morpork. And in every single television adaptation that he features in, he is played fabulously by Charles Dance. Pretty much the same way he is.
Charles Dance just has the best voice, too. Just
He does.
commands authority and just disdain. And
Yeah. I mean, his character of Vetinari, the character never raises his voice. He never exactly demands that you do something, but he just suggests that if you don't do this thing, it might not be in your best interest.
I'm pretty sure he could whisper and I would shit myself, depending on just what he had to say to me. Yeah,
Definitely someone I enjoy seeing.
Yeah, did you also have Alan Leach down?
I do. Alan Leach as John Cairncross.
Yes.
And that being the, spoilers here, the character that turns out to be a Soviet spy. Or double agent,
also,
I guess.
another revelation Mark Strong already knew about, the MI6. But also, he was in a show I have stopped watching, just because it got a little too ridiculous for me, but Downton Abbey. He was in Downton Abbey.
Okay. That doesn't surprise me.
Started out as the chauffeur, and then married Jessica Brown Finley, and then they killed her off, which made me very upset. And then they just started killing off more people, and I'm like, you're not Game of Thrones, stop killing off everyone. Yeah, but yeah, that's where you probably recognize him most from.
Alright, yeah, and it was one of those things where his character figures out that Alan Turing is in fact gay, and his response to it doesn't make any sense for the time period until you find out that he's a spy.
Yeah, like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, he is so fine with it, and that's not the way that it was.
See, my other option was, well, perhaps he himself is a homosexual.
Very true. Very true. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, obviously, as it goes on, you find out he is a spy, therefore he has his own secrets, but even at that point, Alan didn't know. So it was a very odd thing, but a little bit calculating, because he was clearly like, if he ever finds out, I'm going to have this thing on him now. The last name I had written down was playing Peter Hilton, a guy called Matthew Beard.
Oh yeah, Peter.
Yeah, I don't know most of these people that well, but I felt that it was a fairly solid cast. Can you think of any real missteps there at all? Or?
No, I think we need to get into enough of the cast. I think we need to get into the meat and potatoes of the film.
Yeah. So this film chops back and forth. Another one of those
mainly
non-linear
three
narratives.
time periods.
Yeah. It starts off in the 50s, jumped back to...
Which we would call, I guess, present day for the film.
Yeah, for the film timeline. The 50s is present day, jumped back to in the 40s, or during the Second World War.
Yes. And then
back
also
into
the 20s and 30s, right, with his schooling.
Yeah, for the first boy he ever figured out he had feelings for.
And there is some jumping around in that central timeline of the war.
Yeah,
maybe not some jumping around, but some advancing. Like, okay, no, it's a year later.
Yeah,
it's another year later.
It's never overly choppy, but it is just kind of okay. A year's gone by, like it, and we're still moving on.
And I was a little not in love with the present day scenes, at least initially. I just think it kind of stole the momentum of the film.
It did slow it down.
I'll give just because these detectives we don't care about.
Yeah.
And if you know the story at all, you know you're already saying, okay, assholes. I know what you're up to. Yeah. Let's just get back to the story.
Anyway, so it's about Alan Turing, who basically is the father of computers.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is the father of modern.
I mean,
computing.
not to take anything away from anyone else that was working on any of this stuff, but the way that he was using all of this stuff and building machine specifically
a machine to solve problems,
to do all these problems.
Yeah.
And that's what led into modern day computers. So, this guy is kind of a genius, really.
And the catalyst, of course, for this was the German Enigma machine, which was deemed unbreakable, the code.
Yeah, the idea being that the Germans would change the settings at midnight, and they would have one day to figure out what the settings on this machine is, because they've stolen one. And if they didn't find out by midnight, codes changed, every message that they've been able to figure out anything of out the window.
Yes.
So they are not... I mean, they say they're losing the war. I would say they're just not doing well in the war. It was going to go on for a long time. And so they brought together all of these incredibly smart people to break the code. And, of course, Alan Turing starts dreaming up this machine that will be able to figure out all of these... What was it? 29 million combinations.
It was like 59 million. Yeah,
so it's a lot of different combinations it could possibly be, because 10 men working on it, 10 things a minute for 24 hours a day, and it would only take 300 years.
It's just ridiculous, But, so obviously, yes, he had a different approach to it.
And you got to see, the higher up didn't necessarily enjoy his approach to it. Some of the people on the team didn't exactly enjoy it. And yet, when this machine starts working, you got to see the point where they set it up, they did it, and it took, 30 seconds? And they broken this. Yeah,
we're going to kind of just chop through most of the plot, because it's I don't want to speak for Paul, but I thought it was an excellent film.
Yeah,
and
really well
done.
So
go see it. I don't want to spoil too much of that narrative of the movie itself. I think the bigger issue for us is the importance of the film.
Yeah, I mean, half of the drama comes from once they've broken it. What can they do?
Well, that also, that raised the question, wouldn't that issue have occurred to them before breaking it? That
probably
you can't, you can't let the Germans know, or you can't avoid a disaster at the last second.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Germans would know you've broken the code. And that was another interesting part of that, was that they actually developed algorithms and equations and stuff to just pretty much decide who lives and who dies.
Yeah, what is it? The least number of moves to make them suspicious, but the most number of moves to help win the war. It's astonishing, some of the stuff these people had.
But it was absolutely incredible. When they said it possibly saved 2 million lives or something like that.
Yeah,
it cut the war short by 2 years.
No, cut the war by 2 years and saved an estimated 14 million lives.
14 million, yeah. Just amazing. And how did his government repay that?
Well, to start with, it wasn't too bad. He went back to teaching.
Yes.
And then when he got caught because there was a robbery, and the policeman turned up and turned out nothing had been taken, and he wanted them to go away. So the policeman said, hang on, something's happening here. Turns out that there was a homosexual at a pub. And just because of that...
They're in pubs now.
Yes, I know.
Dear God.
They're everywhere. And just because of that, they got enough evidence on him to put him... Not necessarily put him away, to charge him with public indecency. And so
this was... I don't know if I said, but this was a crime at the time.
Yeah, and so to avoid going to jail and having all of his work taken away from him, he agreed to chemical castration
through the use of estrogen.
Yeah,
injections.
So basically, the last year of his life, he had so many physical problems due to this. It was clear that his mind was suffering from it as well, and so after a year of chemical castration, he committed suicide.
Yes.
Thank you, British government.
It's
one
of
of
a
these
great movie. It's an uplifting story, and also
it's an uplifting story, assuming you left before the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, you'd get quite a different perception of the film. But
yeah, it's not like they don't show the suicide,
no.
But you get to see it affecting him, and then it ends with a happier time when they're finished with their work. They're destroying
they have to burn all the evidence. Yes,
and you see you just see all of the facts and figures that came out of this stuff. Mm-hmm. It was an incredible time.
And this was illegal. I think, didn't they say up until in the 60s?
Oh,
homosexuality in public indecency. It could be charged.
It's one of those sad things, really, that it takes so long for these things to just.
To put that in perspective, my parents were teenagers when that was still going on.
Yeah,
and that's, you think we've come a far way, and we have, but
no. Some might say not far enough.
Not far enough.
And some might say too far.
No.
Let's
back it up a bit. But, I think it's an important film for tolerance and for the gay community.
Which not necessarily the main point that they were going for, but a solid argument, I think. Of this is how these people were treated back then. This person who won the war, saved so many people, and this is why.
And because of his sexual inclinations, he did not lead a very short, pretty much unhappy life after the war.
And of course, most of this stuff, it said after 45, this was classified for just over 50 years. No one knew the stuff that they did until the 90s.
Yes. And Queen Elizabeth II, I guess, gave him a pardon.
I think it said 2013 he was given a posthumous pardon for everything and a commendation for all the work that he did.
Yeah, it's it's nice, but it's a little late.
Yeah, just a little,
just a touch late. It's a nice sentiment, but. I don't know where to go with that.
Shall we go into the slightly happier waters of films of the last year?
Yeah, just want to say real quickly, though, also, I don't want to diminish this by saying it as a,
as an addendum.
As an addendum, but also with Keira Knightley's role, I do also think it speaks to sexism at that time.
Yeah.
And even now, she's a really strong character and shows that women there weren't always just Betty Homemaker.
No, she was she was better at a task than Alan Turing was, and despite this, because of the time and because of her parents,
they had to have this ruse of her being a secretary or whatever, and he had to sneak work to her.
Yeah,
but I think it was just cool that she was a strong character in a very oppressive time for women. But,
yeah.
So okay, now on to the fun.
Yes, the fun. Alright, so we have both independently gone over the films released in 2014, and we wanted to...
Shuffle papers.
And we wanted to come up with some of our favourites, some of what we thought were the worst, what we're looking forward to next year.
Some that missed the mark entirely, that we thought wouldn't.
But I figured that I would start because a couple of weeks ago, put together a top 10 list. And I haven't told Brian what's on this top 10 list yet, so I think this could be interesting. Right.
Okay. So I have not ranked mine. I just,
this was just something I did for something else, but I figured I'd bring it in. Alright. So, number 10, Odd Thomas. And I know your feelings on
Can you hear that eye roll, folks?
I know. Me and Brian had talked about this before.
Letdowns. Odd Thomas. I gotta do it. Thank you. Odd Thomas.
So yeah, I'm always a big fan of the books. I'm a big fan of Anton Yelchin. I really enjoyed the film. Brian did not. Moving on.
Pooh Bear full of stuffing. Pooh Bear.
Number 9, I got Interstellar.
Interstellar is on my... So yeah, we'll do this. If you appear on my list, I will mention at that time. Yeah. Interstellar, yes, it's on my best list.
Obviously, we went over it.
The reconnaissance continues to reign.
A very good film. Beautiful film.
Just for the effects alone and...
Yeah, I mean, one of those films
the
that you...
The score is just amazing.
Well, depending on which cinema you see it in, apparently.
Oh, the different scores?
No, it's just, you remember that when that came out, there was all this uproar of the way that Christopher Nolan designed the way for the music to go with it. The cinemas had to turn the volume up to its maximum volume.
Oh, yeah.
And then there were cinemas that didn't do that. And then everyone was complaining about the sound quality.
Well, I hope ours was turned up.
Well, that was the thing. Like, I didn't have any issues with the sound quality, so ours must have complied.
All right, what do you got?
All right, number 8, I've got Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow, okay.
Now, I wasn't as big a fan of it as you were when we saw it, but after thinking about it, and even though it does feature Tom Cruise, not one of my favourite actors, it was a solid film, and it was enjoyable, even if one of the things I enjoyed about it was ripping apart the time travel aspects of it.
Yeah, it's for as anti-time travel as I am, I was very pleased.
Yeah. All right, number 7, I got The Railway Man. I don't know if you saw it.
I'm not familiar with The Railway Man.
It is a very good film. It stars Colin Firth as a guy who goes back to somewhere.
And basically Colin Firth, let me guess, is all Colin Firthy.
Sort of. He's actually close to Liam Neeson.
Attitude and,
he's a little more close to Liam Neeson
at
one point, because he goes back to this place where he was held as a prisoner of war, specifically to find someone and kill him.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
all right. Moving on.
Number 6, I've actually got How to Train Your Dragon 2. It was something that I went to see and was not expecting to like it. I'd seen the first one and I enjoyed it. I saw the second one and I thought, it was going to be a sequel, not as good.
There's more training to be done, apparently.
Yes, I know. And I thought it was actually better than the first one. It was a really solid
I did not. I was
film.
planning on seeing it, and then just the last 20 minutes got spoiled for me, and I hated what I heard, so I just have no plans on seeing it. So
okay, fair enough.
I really don't care for where they chose to end that.
No, yeah. And the really stupid thing is there are 2 twists in that film. The first one is given away in the trailer. Problems I have with trailers there. Anyway, all right, number 5, X-Men: Days of Future Past.
Hey, all right, on my list.
Solid cast, solid film.
Fassbender is all I have to say.
Oh no, Quicksilver.
Well, I mean, he's a little treat in there, but he doesn't carry the film.
But
like Fassbender
is fantastic in that. Yeah. Number 4, I've got the Lego Movie.
Lego Movie I have as well.
One of the biggest surprises for me. I went into
infinitely rewatchable, I believe.
Yeah, I went into it with relatively low expectation because I thought, okay, it's going to be aiming more at the kids, and all that, and then there was just so much in it.
It's just what the Lego Movie proves, and listen to this, people making kids movies, is you can have funny jokes and not be dirty and not be over the line or inappropriate.
Exactly.
You can have truly well written jokes that don't placate to a 4-year-old.
No,
it's just...
I mean, you have some of those in there where, of course, you've got the slapstick of he's falling down the mine shaft, and look, that's a really nice way to go. No, he's going the bad way. You've got your standard stuff like that, but then you do have great dialogue and witty satires.
There
and
is,
stuff, right?
it's very, very smart. Like I said, I think I've probably seen that close to 10 times by now.
And one of my favourite Will Ferrell roles as well.
Oh, yes. President Business and Lord Business.
Yep.
Yeah. And as Will Ferrell.
Yes, as
Spoiler.
Will Ferrell dad.
Yes.
All right, number 3, I've got Chef.
Chef, yes. Quite an amazing little gem.
Yeah.
That should also go in sleepers for me. I don't think it got its due.
No, I mean, it was a really good film. John Favreau's really good.
I love road movies, and it's one of the best examples of a road movie I've seen in a long time.
And also, kind of a slight fake out with Robert Downey Jr. as well. Like his name being right up there on the thing. I think he's even in one of the promotional pictures for it, and he's in a scene for a minute, and that's it. Like, well done, Jon Favreau, for not overusing.
Oh wait, he was the husband of the ex, or whatever, right?
Ex-husband of his ex.
Wait, it's got to be your boy.
So
his brother's father's cousin's former roommate. I think is what it was.
Indeed, yes.
Yes, okay.
He's basically the guy that just sells him a van. That's his entire purpose.
I love Leguizamo, and he needs. I mean, I love him in pretty much anything I see, and I think he was just absolutely fantastic in this movie.
Yeah, really.
And I think it's a great father-son movie as well. I just don't have a bad thing to say about it.
No, yeah, really good. Number 2, I've got the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson's kind of plateaued for me, I guess, a bit.
Okay,
but
I
still will watch pretty much anything he puts out.
It's got some of that just dry humor that I love so much. Like, there's one scene where the bellboy is breaking someone out of prison, and as they're breaking out of prison, the guy is telling him that he absolutely must read this love poem that he's written to his girlfriend, whatever it is. And so he starts reading it, and he gets halfway through and the alarm goes off, and he said, "Now I must stop you there because the alarm has sounded, but I absolutely insist that you finish it when we get somewhere else." It's just some of that stuff.
I don't know if this is a fair dig, but I sometimes feel like his films... Royal Tenenbaums is one of my favorite films of all time, but I feel like sometimes they're overly clever, or the dialogue doesn't always have to be that snappy. You need some ebb and flow, some peaks and valleys. Do you see what I'm saying there?
I see what you're doing with that. I mean, probably because I enjoy that kind of thing. I don't mind if a film is mostly that. That's fine by me. But yeah, I see what you're getting at there, and I can see why a lot of people might be put off by it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think you diminish the strength of that if it's used throughout.
True, but
Not saying I didn't love the film. I loved the movie, but it just didn't make my best of the year.
I would argue it's all in who's playing it and how they do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have that dialogue done by 7 different people, and you can have 2 great ones and several bad ones.
Well, I mean, I fully anticipate Fiennes, I think, should get a nomination.
Yeah.
I mean, not that, like we talked about before, the Oscars aren't the end-all, be-all. But if I was running the Oscars, I'd be giving him a Best Actor nomination.
Yeah.
For that role. He was just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, wonderful in that.
Yeah.
All right, and number 1, what do you think it could possibly be?
Transformers, Age of Extinction?
That's right.
No, wait. Let me see. Did this have other mechanic? Oh, did it have a robot sister? Maybe
a robot sister.
Yes.
Yes. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Did it have Green Uhura? Yes, Green Uhura. Guardians of the Galaxy. Obviously, the first one I thought of.
Yeah, and it's that film that, to steal the category that we made up for the annual. What do we call it? The annual non-Academy Awards that we did.
Not officially.
The best experience film of the year by far.
It is this year's Pacific Rim, I think.
Yeah.
Where it's just utterly enjoyable.
It's just...
You just have a smile ear to ear like you're a child again.
Yeah, which is... Basically, I think what it's trying to do.
Yes, I think I've told Paul about them before, but there are these things out there. I forget the actual guys that do them. It's either CinemaSins or Screen Junkies. One of the two. I follow them both on YouTube, but they have honest trailers. Yeah. Have you seen the honest trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy? Like, just pretty much a big FU from Marvel. Like, look, this comic you don't know anything about, we're going to make this a fucking hit.
Well, it was that thing of back then where
they do these, it's the Space Avengers. Did you see that? Where it's,
But there was this thing where it was...
They do line up very well, the characters.
They do.
They are the Space Avengers.
It was DC talking about Wonder Woman. The world is not quite there to have this Amazon woman in a leading role, and Marvel's response being, "Fuck you, we're going to have a talking tree and a raccoon."
And like at the end of that Odyssey trailer, it's like, what are you going to do, watch DC movies? And they just like Superman going, no! After he kills Zed or Zod or Zood.
That guy.
That guy. Mm-hmm. Michael Shannon. Yeah. So that was, Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know if I've watched it probably 5 or 6 times now, I think.
Yeah.
I'm still enjoying it. I probably should take a break so I can still enjoy it in another year. It's a perfect... I think the soundtrack is perfect for it. I bought that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just... I don't know what's... why am I blanking on his name right now? But
Chris Pratt?
Yes, thank you, Chris Pratt. I think it's definitely his breakthrough vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah, he is now Star-Lord.
Yeah. And... yes, I cannot wait for the next one.
Yeah. Well, that's 2016, I believe. So.
Yeah, all right. Should we go through the rest on my best list, or should we jump around?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. I also had Imitation Game.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely, I think, well worth seeing. I have Captain America, Winter Soldier.
Yeah, good film.
I think, like, one of the best... It's a spy movie, and it's one of the best spy films I think I've ever seen.
Yeah?
It is that genre. I think it's more that genre than a comic book movie.
Yeah, it is.
It is told as a spy movie.
It is technically a spy thriller that happens to have Captain America.
Captain America in it, yeah. I thought that was absolutely amazing. This could probably go in sleepers, but I was super pleased with it, is the follow-up to The Raid 2.
I have not seen that one yet.
It is just some of... the most intense action sequences. The Raid 2 is just intense action all throughout. Just the most gory, violent deaths and just up-tempo thing you're ever going to see. The Raid 2 does intermix some dramatic scenes in there. So it is a better film overall, but it's not a better action film than the original. But Raid 2 I was super, super happy with. Yeah, you got to check that one out.
All right.
I also have Nightcrawler.
That's one of the ones that was going to go for me in like the... most annoyed I missed it of the year.
It looks so amazing. People out there know who Michael Mann is. He didn't direct this, but it has that feeling of a Michael Mann film, I think.
Right.
And just Jake Gyllenhaal is just knocks it way out of the park with his creepiness. And also, I think another nomination coming for that. I would be shocked if he did not get nominated. But I just love that movie. It is so good. He's, like I said, just so manipulative. And it is just a beautifully dark movie. Yeah, I was so happy with that film.
Sounds like something I need to watch.
Yeah, and the last one I have, I don't want to give Sony too much credit for this, but The Interview.
Okay, yes, you mentioned you had seen that.
I've seen
you
this
enjoyed it.
3 times now. It is utterly hilarious. It's got solid jokes throughout. I think this is a weird analogy, but I think Seth Rogen and James Franco are the modern Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. I would watch anything with those two in it. In that regard, that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm not saying they're going to be in You've Got Mail too,
no,
or anything, or Joe, Seth, and Meet the Volcano or whatever. Nothing like that. But yeah, Sony bowed to stupid hacker terrorist threats. But,
did they?
But they're still going to make some decent money. They're not going to make as much money as if it came out in the theater. They're not. They're just not. But the theatrical release is obviously what you want. But they're still going to be okay, especially with controversy and all that stuff.
Well, that's the thing.
But I strongly recommend. It's available on YouTube. You can also rent it on iTunes and stuff.
Hey, how much is it on YouTube right now, if you know?
I know iTunes is $6. I think YouTube might be $6 as well.
Okay.
But
wow, that really isn't that much then. I thought it would be more.
But I found a free stream, so
I see.
Yes, I would have paid to go see it in theater. So there you go, Sony. Those were my absolute best of the year.
Well, I'd say that was a solid list from both of us there.
Yeah, I know there's a lot we missed out on, but hey, we can't get to the movies every time as much as we'd want to.
No, that's the thing. Unfortunately, we cannot watch every single film that comes out.
If this was my day job, yes, there would be no misses list. But yes, we do have to actually work and provide. For
yes, yes, we do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll say then that so moving off of that, then I've got down 2 films that I called the saddest miss of the year, which is the ones I'm most
disappointed in?
No, the one I'm most annoyed that I missed. 'Cause I really wanted to see him, and I just didn't. The first one I wrote down was Birdman.
Birdman, yes, I have that on mine.
Yeah, and we were planning on going to see it, and then the weekend we were going to go see it. It's nowhere.
And in one of our most reliable theaters that we go to, which they kept Chef there for 3 months.
Yeah.
And then we couldn't go see Birdman 6 weeks after it came out.
Yeah, it was a weird thing because I went online to look for it and it was saying, oh, it's showing on this day on Friday. And then on Saturday, nothing.
It was playing near me, but yeah, that was about it. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
So a little sad I missed that one.
I want to see it, but also it's not one of those films I think that's going to benefit by seeing it in the theater.
No,
it works well on the small screen too.
It's not an IMAX film.
Exactly, it's not Interstellar. It's not Guardians of the Galaxy.
All right.
Yeah.
And so the other one I wrote down was one you reminded me of just before we started, the Babadook.
The Babadook.
I heard so many good things about this, and I just never got to see it.
We might hear that name again.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Did you have? Oh, that was all you missed out on.
That was the two most annoyed I missed.
I'll just real quick run through.
Although
mine.
I did write down the Monuments Men. I know that you weren't looking for it, but for me,
it's
George
common,
and John
pleasing
Goodman.
fare. Oh, look at this inspiring story, just like Unbroken. Look at this inspiring story.
I don't mind historical fighting stories, and as I said, John Goodman and George Clooney.
I just don't think it's gonna. I would never rate it. I think 60% on Rotten Tomatoes is. I don't know what it is, but that's I think barely above. Barely fresh is what I would list it.
Fine by me. I was just. It was one of those films that last year I was like, oh, I want to see that, and I never did.
Yeah.
So.
Looks like Ocean's 13, but in World War II.
Oh, there you go.
Pretty much to me.
Ocean 13 with landmines.
Exactly. Okay, I'll just real quick go through the ones I'll see have not gotten to yet, but I will.
Okay.
I plan. Theory of Everything, which I really want to see. I've heard amazing things about.
I'm
a huge Hawking fan, which I know it's more centered on the love story than his work.
Well, I kind of want to see that, but there was... I know I've mentioned this before, but there was a documentary on Channel 4 in the UK ages ago starring Benedict Cumberbatch as Stephen Hawking as he's coming up with his new thesis as his disease starts to progress. That was fantastic. And I can't find it anywhere. Okay. And now they're coming out with this. So
well, there's also a great documentary on Netflix. The name's escaping me right now, but it's...
Probably Hawking.
It might be just Hawking, yeah. But it's
Isn't it
pretty awesome.
Is it him narrating it or something like that? Because there's one where he's narrating it.
Narrating intermittently, and then I think there's also a narrator. It's not like there was a TV show with him in there, Into the Universe or something like that with Stephen Hawking. It's not that. No, This is an actual documentary.
It's just called Hawking.
Okay. So Theory of Everything, Foxcatcher.
I want to see that.
I want to see that really badly. Whiplash, which I've heard great things about.
Oh, how did I not write that one down?
Yeah, I definitely want to see Whiplash.
Yeah, I mean, J.K. Simmons.
Yes, I've heard lots of drumming. But, hey, I like that. Book of Life. The animated Day of the Dead. Channing Tatum and Zoe Saldana.
Yeah, yes. I wasn't overly sold on that by the trailer, but...
It looked... kind of cool. It looked very like a more colorful Tim Burton film, kind of,
Yeah, that's
Tim Burton liked color.
That's what I got from that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the last one I still really, really, really want to see is Force Majeure, which is just the best concept of a film I've ever heard. We've talked about this, haven't we?
I believe we have.
With
but
the guy that is on a ski trip with his family and sees an avalanche coming. He thinks it's planned, realizes it's not a set off, a staged one, that it's real, and just abandons his family at the table. Yes. And then the rest of the film is, how do you deal with someone that has done that to you? And how do you... and just pretty much left you for dead, and how do you go on for that? It's just... I think it's Swedish? I believe it's Swedish in origin, but yeah, it's one of the most original premises that I think I've ever heard, and it just looks... delightfully hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that I will definitely see at some point.
Yes, I'm sure I'll probably follow.
So sorry we've missed out on some of those big names there. I know.
Well,
yeah.
Again, we do what we can, and we are only human.
I think, yes, we're bookbusters. I don't think any of those would actually qualify as a huge blockbuster, though, that we missed. I think we hit the big ones.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we got most of them covered.
I bet you we hit the top 5 grossing films of the year.
Oh, I'm sure we did. So...
What do you want to get into? Worst?
Sure, worst of
is
the
fun.
year. Alright, I just wrote down the one film that I saw this year that, for me, was just the worst film. And
Yes,
I'm
and that film would
sure
be?
that Brian has it on his list.
Probably the first one as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber 2.
Yes.
And there's a reason why it's not in my biggest letdown category, but still, it just didn't live up to what everyone thought it was going to
Steve, that
be.
is called a letdown.
No, I know, but also I thought, they were going to make it with, say, homages to it, and then it'll be good in its own right. And I didn't feel that it was a good film by itself. I did think that it was one of those ones where they do try and play on the old one too much. So it didn't have enough substance.
I thought of this analogy later. It's like when you write a check and you have that piece of paper underneath the check, that the carbon copy. It's it's a copy of the original, but it's a little faded. It's not quite as
Yeah.
You can't quite make out the name that's signed on there, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Or, like everything, you can still kind of make out all the numbers, but it's not as crisp and clean as that original check.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, obviously it was a letdown, but
I think it was the top of my letdown.
But as I said, by itself, there wasn't enough there to make it a good film by its own right.
No, like I think we said in the podcast, if you don't have that love with the first one, I don't know how you would even tolerate this one.
Yeah.
But that's the only reason
One thing I actually enjoyed
I
doing
enjoyed some parts of it.
was if you went on Twitter and just searched for Dumb and Dumber 2, and you saw all of the, hey, I got my ticket for Dumb and Dumber 2, hey, looking forward to seeing this, I'm seeing this on Friday, and then you see all of the tweets afterwards of, wow, that really wasn't very good, was it?
Yeah. So that was your worst?
That was my worst film of the year that I saw.
Okay. So
I have to preface it with
I have a couple on this list I haven't seen, which I'll get to as I'm perfectly fine throwing this guy under the bus. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
I saw all I needed to see on it. I don't need to see the film. Fuck Michael Bay. Transformers: Age of Extinction. Don't need to see it. So all I needed to see of it. Fuck Michael Bay.
I saw that, and it was just boring. Like there was just so much nothing going on.
Trying to get me to watch it. Oh, it's good. It's good. No, it's not. I Frankenstein. Which I watched about 30 minutes of.
I saw all of it.
I very rarely don't finish a film.
No, it was one of those films that you needed to be in the mindset of, I'm just going to turn
I'm tired
off.
of cool, like, okay, this is cool Frankenstein, this is cool Dracula, this is cool, make a good movie. I don't care if he's stylish.
Well, in that case, is Dracula Untold on your list then?
No, didn't see that one. But and it wasn't directed by Michael Bay, so I didn't feel like I should on it. Also one, this could be a tad controversial, got great reviews, had a woman that I will go see read the phone book, ScarJo, and it was called Under the Skin. And I did watch that film. It is still like an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes. And so, screw you to people who say I'm a Tomatoes hound. All I do is just watch what's highly ranked on Rotten Tomatoes. Yes, I did watch it. Or I would just agree with that rating. No, it's supposed to be this existential masterpiece. And there are just so many long periods without dialogue. I don't think there's dialogue for like the first 20 minutes or something like that. It's just her driving around, and she's supposed to be like this alien that's alien that's in like ScarJo's skin.
I'll say I know,
and seduces these men into this weird black oily pit or whatever. Yeah. And I was so bored. And the male side of me did enjoy a couple of scenes.
Which ones?
The ones where she was reading the phone book, of course.
Oh, there you go. Looking for the next person just in the phone book.
Yes, just flipping through the yellow pages. I just didn't get it. It just, whether it flew over my head, you can say I'm not smart enough, we're just on different wavelengths, me and that film, and it was a stinker. But I will not be the last time I bring up ScarJo on this podcast. So
Okay.
it's a little teaser.
All right.
All right. Where do you want to go? Sleeper hits, or you got a couple more letdowns?
Well, I just got I got biggest letdown of the year for me. Sin City 2.
Which I did not see.
No, yeah.
Which, because I didn't get on the forefront of that, and so many people had just weighed in with their opinion on it. I'm like, oh, I guess I don't need to see that.
No, yeah, I went to see it because I really like Sin City. It tends to rotate into my top 5 from time to time, and I went to see Sin City 2. It just didn't, kind of like Dumb and Dumber 2, but it wasn't playing on the original. It's just like, I don't know if the pacing was off or if the stories this time were just not as good, but it was just, I was sitting there getting bored. I don't get bored at these sorts of films.
Yeah.
Like, I loved how it looked, but for whatever reason, that just wasn't enough for me. And of course, I know that the absolute main draw for most people in seeing it would be Eva Green, because she spends most of the film with no top on. But
okay. I might I might end up seeing it. Okay. Wait, can I just can I get an edit of just those scenes?
I'm sure that exists. I'm absolutely sure that exists. In fact, I'm fairly certain there is only one scene where she is wearing anything that covers her top half, and that's it. Every other scene she's
okay.
There you go. I might have just talked Brian into seeing it, but
we'll see. See how bored I get.
But I mean, there's just all of these extraneous characters that were completely unnecessary. Like Jeremy Piven is normally really good, but he just plays this completely pointless character. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is good in it, but he's not in it very much, and he's only in it so that he can then not be in it again. Like, it's a very weird setup this time. The story didn't flow like the last one, so I was just let down by it. So.
All right. That was all you had on...
That was all I had for here, but I'm sure if you read from your list, I'll...
Well, letdowns, a newly added Odd Thomas.
Okay.
Young adult drivel.
Yeah. I'm fairly certain you needed to have read the book to really get the film.
Well, that's the thing about a movie. It's a movie, not a book.
Yeah, you go. Carry on.
Go on. RoboCop remake.
Did not see that. Do not want to.
The RoboCop out of making it a PG-13.
I would.
Let's remake it, but let's just take out all the awesome violence.
Yes.
In the dystopian Detroit. Yeah. And let's make it cleaned up and let's that iconic silver suit. Let's paint it jet black.
Isn't the new Terminator film going to be a PG-13?
I don't know.
I'm fairly certain it is.
There's I don't know is like the worst thing to happen to films is that rating. Yeah, I think. But yeah, too many people trying to please this 12 old guys called the MPAA.
Which shall we point out again, completely voluntary, although you won't be able to get into a cinema without it.
Yes, they want the ticket sales of the younger audience, but then it dumbs down the movie. It's just horrible. Let your kids see an R movie. It's not. They already have smartphones in their pockets that with internet access. So
no, it's not even that. I'm not going to let them see RoboCop. They can stay home and play Grand Theft Auto 5.
Exactly.
Like, they're not going to the cinema. Okay.
They can pay a hooker killer and take their money back on Grand Theft Auto.
They can play Grand Theft Auto, they can watch Game of Thrones, but I am not taking them to see Gremlins. That's just too far.
Yeah. And then I had one last one. I told you a little hint of we have reviewed this film. Any guess?
I'm completely blanking. Just go for it.
Godzilla. Godzilla. I was really let down by that, mainly because the main title character, he was more of a cameo than the title character. There was very little Godzilla in Godzilla.
Very true.
I think you saw more of the Cloverfield monster than you saw in Cloverfield than you saw of Godzilla. Or maybe equal.
Yeah, that's about the same amount of screen time, I think. No?
Yeah, which is just not the way to go with that.
No, I'm looking forward to seeing what they might do.
And I do kind of regret that podcast. I think I was a little too in love with the film at the time, just because I was wanting not to be disappointed.
Well, I think that if they continue the franchise and they make, say, 2 or 3 more, and this is just the introduction one, and then the next one, more on screen, more, I guess, character development. I don't know what you do with Godzilla after that, but then I'm okay with that film existing.
You make it a monster movie. That's what it is, Godzilla. I don't need to know personal stories. You make it Pacific Rim. You know,
and just
crazy action sequences. Yeah. That's all you need,
rather than just okay. So he's going to go back into the city and just end. What was with the ending?
Thanks for helping out Godzilla and destroying all of our cities.
Thanks, Superman.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that's all of my letdowns.
All right.
You want to go into some sleeper hits of the year?
Sure, you go ahead. I didn't.
You didn't have a sleeper list?
I didn't write that down, but I'm sure I'll agree with most of what
movies
you got.
I was pleasantly surprised by, or I don't feel got their due credit. Babadook. I have. I'm not a fan of the horror genre. I think it's just so repetitive and so formulaic, and making me I don't like the gory stuff. Just because that's not scary. Just because it's violent doesn't mean it's scary. This Saw and all that stuff.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna make it
the murder porn stuff, just whatever. I just not into it.
That's a subgenre in and of itself.
Yeah,
so.
But they are classified as horror films.
Yeah,
and then just the fake out of just surprise, and it's just a door, just oh honey I'm home door. It's that's not scary. Just because I have reflexes and healthy reflexes doesn't mean you scared me. Yeah. I reacted.
Well,
and that was so scary.
Well, it's not even that. It's purely just a done thing. But it's the music.
Yeah, and the music cues and all that. Yeah. But Babadook, I will say, was a pleasant surprise. It is still a little formulaic, but it had really good performances. It was an interesting story and kind of a little different take. I mean, not as a departure as Cabin in the Woods was from the genre, which I think is probably the best horror film in the past 10 years. But
I'd agree.
I would say since The Sixth Sense, if you want to classify that as a horror film, I don't know.
I'd say that's on the edge.
On the edge, yeah, on the periphery. But I was surprised. Probably one I don't need to go see again, but I liked it for what it was. I have Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I know that made a lot of money, but I think it should have been a bigger hit. I was really blown away with it. And this is also coming from someone that didn't see Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which is the first in the reboot.
Yeah. I've seen that one, but I haven't seen the one you're talking about now. So.
I just thought it was so well done. I was so incredibly blown away with the performances of the apes.
Okay. Maybe
Andy
I should see it.
And just Caesar's performance. Oh my God, it's just like they were real actors on screen. It was just incredible to me, and I loved it for that. Snowpiercer, good old Captain America.
Still need to see that. It's still in my list.
Some of the dumbest dialogue. There's a couple scenes of the most. All I gotta say is eating babies, and if you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. But really an awesome movie.
Okay, that's
some really really cool action scenes in there.
Chris Evans and Tilda Swinton. Right?
Tilda Swinton, Ed Harris. Which I don't even know why they listed him in the cast list, because after 10 minutes you figure out who Ed Harris is or is going to be without even it's like that's something you don't need to release that he's in the film, because that kind of spoils that aspect. I had Edge of Tomorrow in a sleeper.
But just because they rebranded it, renamed it, and then
Live, Die, Repeat. Like, what is the film called now? I don't even know. Live, Die, Repeat? Edge of Tomorrow?
If you get it on DVD, it is Live, Die, Repeat / Edge of Tomorrow.
So it's both names. Titles. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I will say Edge of Tomorrow is one of the dumbest names.
But it actually works, though.
Yeah, it's a little on the nose, but...
and Live, Die, Repeat isn't...
Touche. Okay, I will foot in mouth. All right, moving on. I just thought it was a great movie. I also thought that should have been a bigger hit.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, I have Blue Ruin, which is probably one of my favorite indie
Haven't
films,
seen that one.
Which is just a revenge flick.
Okay.
Where this guy's just tracking down the people that killed his family. And it is very it's not a typical. It's not like, don't think Tarantino revenge flick.
Right.
You know, not Kill Bill.
Right.
But it's very kind of quiet. It's very dialogue heavy. But then it goes into some very deep, dark places. And the main, I don't know the actor. I can't think of his name right now. But that performance is just marvelous. Blue Ruin is something that everyone should see.
So basically, Taken done better.
Taken done from a realistic point of view. Just
right.
like, what would you do if this was all you had left to live for?
Right.
Is making amends or righting this wrong. And not caring if you make it through. Like, this is the last thing you're probably going to do. I don't want to spoil anything.
No, yeah.
But, like, I don't care if there's a life for me after this. Like, I'm just going to get these people.
Yeah.
I'm going to deal out some justice. And it's fucking awesome. Blue Ruin.
I will look that up.
Lucy. I said ScarJo would come back up again. Lucy, it's a completely impossible premise. The whole 10% of your brain thing is a misnomer. Like, there's no such thing as using 100% of your 50%. But I love it because there's so much crazy shit in there. It's just off the wall insanity. And it's enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
It's really fun to watch. Even while you're saying this is the dumbest thing. This would never happen. And it's Scarlett Johansson. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And you got Morgan Freeman being intellectual expert Morgan Freeman.
Being Morgan Freeman.
Yes. Being the go-to on the subject, you know, whatever film he's in.
Yeah.
Like, I am the expert. So, yeah, Lucy was cool. Cheap Thrills, I have.
Haven't seen that
David
one.
Koechner.
I don't know.
Really dark comedy. What's the main guy's name in it? Pat somebody. But yeah, it's and Sarah Paxton is in it. But yeah, David Koechner from Anchorman and from The Office. He did a few things. People know him. He's a well-known comedian.
Right.
But I think I've talked about it before on the podcast. But it's a really, really funny dark comedy.
Okay.
See what you will do to make some money. That's pretty much how far will you go to be someone's essentially prank monkey.
Oh, I've heard of this
Yes,
one.
and it's really, really good. Chef I had on Sleepers.
Okay.
I think that should have gotten a little more due.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Had Grand Budapest
Yep.
on Sleepers. And Joe, which I think I've talked to you about Joe before. I have not been a Nick Cage fan since the mid-90s. And this performance, I loved it. Check out Joe. You got Ty Sheridan in there, who's also the young kid from Mud.
Okay.
Kind of similar relationship as older guy with maybe a dark past, mentoring the child. But the performances are just solid throughout. It's tragic and heartbreaking, and I love Joe. It made me like Nick Cage again, and that's saying something because I cannot stand Nick Cage anymore.
So you weren't a fan of Drive Angry then when that one came out?
No, not Drive Angry or Knowledge or whatever, Knowing, whatever. Wasn't that a movie?
Okay, Knowing was ridiculous. I don't.
National Treasures did not like.
Right, and comparing it to Drive Angry, I'm saying it. Knowing was ridiculous.
Drive Angry was the Citizen Kane in that one. Okay. Yeah, I think Con Air was probably the last one I enjoyed, and even then I realized it was dumb, but still.
Con Air's enjoyable.
Movie. Just
Con
a
Air's
dumb
good.
popcorn movie.
Yeah.
And the last one, I have been touting this movie and been the champion of this film ever since I saw it. Stars Neo himself.
Right.
And this film is called John Wick. It is probably, even with Raid 2 coming out this year, probably my favorite action film of the year.
Nice.
Also, with the Nick Cage thing, haven't been a Keanu fan. Intermittently, just, The Matrix probably.
Have you seen The Mountain Tai Chi?
No.
You should see that.
Okay, and he did another one, I think, this year, too. Wasn't he 47 Ronin or something? Wasn't that Keanu?
Yeah, you don't really need to see that.
Yeah, I don't. Yes, all I needed to see was the box cover or the title cover, and I was like, I know what that movie is. Okay, it's The Last Samurai without being The Last Samurai. But John Wick is just so much damn fun. It is a little like The Raid, where it's just like once it gets going, there's about a reel, and for movie lovers, reels.
Yeah.
It's about 15 minutes of setup, and then once it gets into the story, it's just bullets flying. Like, I want the Blu-ray where they like count the bullets, because that would be insane. Let's say there's some creative killing with the guns, and it's so damn fun. I saw it 3 goddamn times already. Nice. Twice in the theater. How often do I go see a movie twice in the theater?
No, Never. You don't.
I don't. I hate going to theaters usually, and I went like, I love this movie. I cannot get like, oh, it's Keanu Reeves, I don't want to go see it. I'm like, I am that guy. Trust me, I was him. I have drank the Kool-Aid, and I am on the John Wick bandwagon. That movie did not get the credit it deserves. It is ranked really high on Rotten Tomatoes, but it should have made a shitload more money for as fun and awesome, and it's just pure enjoyment. It is a popcorn flick to the max.
Yeah, I think the second that's on Netflix, I'm probably going to spend a weekend just sitting down watching it. Because I didn't get to see it in the cinema, and I kind of regret that. Because of what I've heard about it, especially from you.
I cannot stop. Tell them, can I stop smiling talking about this movie?
No. And how rare is that, ladies and gentlemen? He has had a smile on his face the entire time.
I love John Wick. I love it. Watch John Wick. I'm moving that to my best movie of the year. Fuck Guardians of the Galaxy. John Wick.
Ooh.
Now them's are fighting words. Alright, so that was 2014. What's coming up this year, Paul?
Alright, well, I have... Now, what do you think would be best? Starting with the ones we're looking forward to, or the ones that I just don't understand why they're being made, period?
Just go through the ones not being made quickly, yeah.
Okay.
Or why are they being made?
Alright, well, let's see. Alright, so, yeah, we'll start with I've just written down, no, with 2 exclamation marks under it.
We'll call this Viewers Beware, I guess.
Yeah, Paranormal Activity.
Why are they still making these?
The Ghost Dimension. They're in this dimension. If you're watching any of these films, they're in this bloody dimension. I suppose, yeah. Like, so does that mean that some live people will end up flipping to another dimension where all the ghosts are? Because for whatever reason, the ghosts are actually in this dimension because they're clearly interacting with. Anyway, moving on.
See, that's just an indication of the problem with the studio business. Is that these are films are cheap to make. They will make their money back and then some.
They will,
and so they will keep being made. That's just how it's going to be.
All right, I told you this one before. Mission Impossible 5. Mm-hmm. You don't
Ghost Dimension Protocol.
Yeah.
Also the same subtitle.
You don't need any more Mission Impossible.
Isn't he? Yes. I mean, he's not to Indiana Jones age yet, but
no. But even so, like, what else are you gonna do with the damn thing? I mean,
they're still making James Bond films.
Very true, but they're recasting him every few years. They're not doing it with this guy. He's back again. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, this is a kids' film, but even so, Alvin and the Chipmunks 4.
There's 4?
Yeah, there's been 3.
I thought there was just this squeakquel. And then I must have missed 3.
There was a squeakquel. They brought out another one next year. There's the 4th one. This one, even more, I think, than like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where they keep trying to remake that. This one's just really grinding it into the ground. What else can happen to these chipmunks?
Oh, you will have to buy a ticket and find out, sir.
I suppose. I mean, maybe if they did a live-action version of the chipmunks with that werewolf one. I don't know.
Oh, my gosh. Live version. And let's just go ahead. I don't even know if these films are being made, but let's go ahead and count, like, Rio, whatever one they'll come up with.
Rio 3, I guess.
Angry Birds, or whatever they'll come up with.
Rio 3, now in Antarctica.
Ice Age, the Super Duper Meltdown, whatever. You know there's going to be another one of those where they just start making them with the side characters that made them. Oh, no, isn't there supposed to be one that's just like the squirrel? Or did that one already... No, that already came out. The Nut Job or whatever.
Well, okay, the Nut Job exists, but it's not Scrat. I mean,
wasn't a squirrel in there? Okay. I mean, but you see what I'm saying. They make the films... And then they make films of like the side characters and just franchise it out, and it lasts forever. There's going to be probably an Olaf movie. I don't know.
At least there will be a short of that.
Yeah. So let's just go ahead and any of the
last one I have on this
animated
list.
drivel.
Friday the 13th, the 3D reboot.
Well, that's all the reasons I have to hate movies. Horror, 3D,
and a reboot. Now,
if you throw Michael Bay to direct, I think that's a
well, you never know.
That's a quadruple shitstorm there.
They may as well make Michael Bay, make him the killer. He always comes. You can't get rid of the bastard.
No, they should make him the first victim that dies in the opening scene.
No, that would be what we want. What's going to happen is he'll be the killer.
Probably, yeah.
And I don't... This isn't part of this list, but I didn't know where to put it. So this is kind of a murky thing. I told Brian before. They're remaking Poltergeist. It will come out next year. Well, this year, I guess. Mm-hmm. And it will be starring Sam Rockwell.
I don't think that's enough to save it.
Admission time here. Freely admit, I have not seen the original Poltergeist. Well, I think I might have seen the first 10 minutes, but...
But also, our sensibilities and tastes have changed. In Poltergeist, we're just so deadened to violence and weird things happening in movies and stuff that we can't see it with fresh eyes that they saw it with in the 70s, where... where The Exorcist or something, where people were getting sick in the theaters and stuff, leaving and throwing up and banning it and trying to get it banned. It's just... Well, you're not going to get to that point again.
Well, that too, and what the hell are they going to do? Isn't half of the thing in Poltergeist that it comes through the static on the television? Who has static on television now? What's it going to do?
He's going to have to come up with another dimension to come through on.
Going to come through the car radio, I guess. I don't know. But then everyone has
turn on car radio.
I know. I think I'm the only one that still uses mine.
He's going to overtake Siri and come through as Siri.
Ooh.
There you go.
Poltergeist.
It's like a horror movie, but her.
Yeah, that would. That might actually work.
Don't steal that idea, people. We're working on it. We're going to screenwrite the shit out of that thing. All right. Let's wrap this up so we can get going on that. So, evil her.
So, films we're looking forward to next year.
Or this year. This year. Since year. I guess technically at the time
within the next year.
Yes, this is 2015. Yeah.
So, Inherent Vice.
Inherent Vice. I know that has already been released at the very end of last year, but it has not yet been released in our area.
It is not yet here. I believe it is also not yet in the UK either.
It's been very limited release up until I think this weekend. Well, second week of January or something.
Something like that.
Yeah. So Inherent Vice. I love PTA. Paul Thomas Anderson to the layman.
And just watching the trailer.
Not parent-teacher.
No, yes. Not parent-teacher situation. Yes. I mean, you don't have any kids. It's a very weird time when you talk about that.
PTAs. I love just creeping in on PTAs.
Seeing the trailer, it just looks nuts, which always ends up being like a fun ride. I've got Chappie.
Chappie. I wanted to say that, but all right. Chappie, yes. What's Chappie?
Chappie is...
I know the answer, folks, but I'm just asking. It's called leading.
Yeah. Chappie is Short Circuit remade...
To not be cheesy.
To not be cheesy.
Which I still love Short Circuit, by the way.
Yes. Imagine the Short Circuit robot inside the shell from real steel, done by one of Brian's favourite directors.
I think he is just... he does have a certain look, which all directors kind of have their own look. But, I mean, if you're not familiar, Neil Blomkamp, District 9, and then Elysium, which could have been a sleeper, I think, for last year.
No, I enjoyed Elysium. I didn't think I would.
Was that 2014? I think that's 2013.
Maybe.
But yeah, and then now Chappie, very different, or very similar look to The World.
Yeah.
But he always seems to have a thing of treating people or maybe things with humanity you wouldn't necessarily think to treat them with humanity or equal respect.
Well, I
mean, obviously District 9 was an allegory for apartheid.
Yeah.
And this is, just what is life, or what is...
Well, that's the thing. I think
what does the life mean?
It looks like it's going more in detail than Short Circuit ever did as to what actually is alive. Like, if it can think...
If it can feel.
Yeah, but But then, how much of it is programmed and what decides that?
Who cares if it's an electronic brain or one made of goop?
Well, that is the big question. Like, at what point does it switch from being programmed well enough to simulate life and life? So, what is that line?
I'm super interested in seeing it. Yeah.
Alright, going forward then, and these are all in date order for the most part. Avengers,
Age of Ultron.
He has no strings on him. Yeah. One of the best trailers, I think, and a very creepy rendition of the Pinocchio song there. Very well done.
Yeah,
although
it'll be awesome.
If you're looking for an extended trailer, try and find the one where they're all trying to lift Loki's hammer. Because it's a nice little scene that you get to see some of that. I think it was released in Canada.
It's going to be awesome. We don't need to talk more about it.
Yeah.
It's going to be Marvel.
All right.
Just I mean, they asleep at the wheel, but still making it great. Like, they don't even have to try anymore. Just, here you go. Watch it. Give us $10. You're going to love it.
It will technically also be the introduction to the Inhumans, which is coming out next year. Yeah. So, Mad Max.
Mad Max. This is probably the one I'm most excited for.
Now, I have to say, I'm absolutely certain we will cover this on the podcast, and I promise I will watch Mad Max just before I see...
Watch at least the first two, I would say. Probably don't need to mess with 3. I would say Mad Max and Beyond Thunderdome. You should see.
Well, what do you think? Should I watch those two before seeing Fury Road, or should I just watch the first one and then see Fury Road?
No, I think you should see it soon. Okay. That way you have time to digest it. I think you should see Mad Max, so you're not immediately comparing it.
Okay. All right.
Does that, or do it whatever the hell you want. But Tom Hardy. That's all. That's that sentence. Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
Exclamation point.
Moving on.
As Mad Max,
should be interesting.
I think, I don't know, I'm going to get my hopes up too high, but I think, Mad Max, in the same way that people said the Joker could never be done better than what Jack Nicholson did.
Right.
I think Mad Max is such an iconic character, and luckily Mel Gibson in his personal life has kind of helped lower that bar. But I think that's also Mad Max is Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson is Mad Max. How are you ever going to reboot that?
The big question is this a reboot, or could this be the same world and this guy is the new Mad Max?
I'm not entirely clear. I tried to find that out. I understood it as a reboot initially, but it could be a continuation.
Right.
But either way, my point being the title character, even if it's not a straight cross,
the idea
even
being
if the reference isn't perfect.
The name
that I do think Tom Hardy will be all people think of as Mad Max now.
All right.
Yeah, has he turned in a bad performance?
Right. I cannot recall one. No.
Yeah.
All right. This one is a question mark. Jurassic World. I am cautiously optimistic that it will be cheesy enough and self-aware enough to be okay.
That's where they need to go with it at this point. They need to make fun of themselves,
especially given some of the lines in the trailer.
Yeah.
That's a bad idea. No shit.
Do we know
I covered this.
Goldblum will appear?
He has not been announced or anything.
Okay.
I really hope it's a cameo.
I hope Goldblum is
I'm fairly certain Sam Neill has come out to say he hasn't been approached, but then again, it doesn't mean he won't be in it. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, I've got Ant-Man down here. Ant-Man being, again, Marvel. So,
where are you, DC?
Yes, much like Guardians of the Galaxy was, what? The same with Ant-Man and
the people that have heard of Guardians of the Galaxy are going, what?
Now,
who's Ant-Man?
Now this is an example.
Do you mean the Tick? No, we don't mean the Tick.
This is an example of Marvel being Marvel.
Marvel just having balls of steel right
They
now.
released, I think it was 2 days ago now, the ant-sized teaser trailer. It is on YouTube. Mm-hmm. It is, and Brian can't, you can't see it now, but it is this big on YouTube. You cannot see in any detail what is happening.
What do you mean? It's like an inch by inch
Yeah.
stream? Okay.
The actual thing itself is less than an inch by less than an inch on YouTube. And then you hear the music, and then at the end, in giant letters, Ant-Man just comes up on screen in normal size. That is their teaser trailer, and then in a couple of days they're going to bring out the actual teaser trailer. But
we'll wait. We'll see.
I know nothing about Ant-Man,
but I also thought Guardians of the Galaxy looked good, so.
And I'm gonna go and see Ant-Man. So there we go. Star Wars: The Force Awakens. I'm not a Star Wars fan. I'm going to see this. Like, the trailer has sold me already.
I'm actually looking. I'm not a huge Star Wars person either, but I'm looking forward to getting that franchise back on the right track after the travesty of the prequels.
And of course, we will be endeavouring as much as possible to bring you the lens flare count.
Oh yes, we will bring our little clickers and click every time there is a lens flare.
All right, and
annoy everyone around us.
All right. And the last two I wrote down, I found out about an hour and a half ago, so that's why they're on here last. Got The Revenant, which is a western starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hardy, Donald Gleason, and some others.
Okay.
And so, even though I'm not the biggest western fan, the names Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hardy basically mean I'm going to see it. And looks like it can be interesting, but all I've seen is a one-sentence plot synopsis. So, more on that when that comes out. And then Victor Frankenstein. I know that Brian was ripping on I, Frankenstein earlier, but I find the character interesting, and if this is done well, it should be a good film, especially since it's James McAvoy as Victor Frankenstein, Daniel Radcliffe as Igor, or however you want to say it.
It's Igor.
Well, they told me it was Igor, but they were wrong, weren't they? I really hope that...
it's been a while since a Mel Brooks reference. Thank you.
I really hope they go with Igor. Anyway, and it's told from Igor's perspective, as in the relationship between the two and how they came together and working on the monster and so on. So that one I'm looking forward to, but I think I'll have to wait till the trailer to actually put down judgment for it. And that's all I have, but that doesn't mean that that's it. I'm sure there will be more announcements and stuff. Do you have
anything else? As of this date, no, that covered everything I had.
Alright, well, I'm sure that our fans on Twitter and Facebook and stuff will tell us what we missed, what we got wrong.
Yes.
What we got right. That one's normally a fairly short list.
Unfortunately.
And who knows, maybe...
Let us know, what were your best of the year? What were your worst?
Yeah, we really like hearing from everyone. And, of course, next year when we do a year in review, maybe we will review our year in review from this year and then see just how wrong/right we were.
See what holds up and what didn't.
Yeah. I mean, the films we're looking forward to for the next year, I think, will be really interesting to revise at the end of the year and just either say what were we thinking or thank God that was all we wanted.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Lack of sleep, not boredom.
Oh, yes, okay. Yes. Alright, well, that's my entire page gone. How about yours?
I have nothing but scraps left.
Right.
So,
well,
Happy New Year, folks.
Happy New Year, and make sure you get out to cinema more than we do, because...
And yes, let us know if you see something before us.
Yeah,
say you'd like us to review it.
Yeah, do let us know. We're always willing to take requests, although if anyone requests any romantic comedy, you can you can know where to stick it, alright?
Hey, that's Paul's. I do have a heart, so maybe ask me and I'll go see it.
Alright, okay. Yes, Brian will go see it, he will review it by himself.
Right. Okay, fair enough.
Alright, well, I've been Paul.
I've been Brian.
See you, folks.